crochet lovers, and welcome to my channel Spaß mit Faden. Today I want to crochet together with you this lovely bolero. You can crochet your bolero in any size and any length that you prefer, and as you can see, it turned out just very beautiful. Please make sure to subscribe my channel now, and I then want to tell you what you'll need to crochet together with me your beautiful bolero. To crochet together with me now your bolero, you'll of course need some yarn. I've chosen today this beautiful color changing yarn, and for my bolero in a size large, I used 250 gram. I crocheted my bolero with a 5mm hook, and you'll of course need some scissors to cut off your yarn ends and a yarn needle to sew up your yarn ends. Although I've already laid down some stitch markers, if you don't have stitch markers, you can of course use safety pins as well. I now want to show you on a sketch how you can really crochet your bolero on your preferred size. We now want to start to crochet our bolero by creating a slip knot first, and after that we want to start to crochet chains. We want to start to crochet our bolero by crocheting the front part first. After we've completed our front part, we just want to crochet onto our front part, our back part as well. So what we want to do now is to create a slip knot, and then we want to start crocheting chains. These chains will be the width of our bolero. So what we want to do is to go on the highest point on our left shoulder and just start to crochet then our chains. And we want to stop the crochet our chains when we reach the highest point on our right shoulder. So this width of our chains can really depend, and you can make the bolero for your precise size and then really just crochet chains till you covered up this middle part in between your shoulders. This amount of chains just need to be divisible by 4. So what I want to do now for my size large is to really crochet my 84 chains. And this 84 chain stitches is perfectly divisible by 4 and creates 21. And the length of our bolero we then want to create by crocheting more and more rows with our pattern. I want to crochet my pattern with the rows till I've covered up my breast part, but you can actually decide on your own how long your bolero should be by just adding more or even less rounds. You can decide if it should end underneath your breast or maybe over your breast as well. This really depends on your decision. So what we want to do now is to create a slip knot and then crochet our chains for the width of our bolero, and all we have to take care of is that the amount of our chains is divisible by 4. So what I want to do now is to really start to crochet my bolero, and I really do hope that you enjoy the instructions now and crocheting together with me your bolero in your perfect size. I want to start to crochet my bolero now by creating a slip knot first. Into the slip knot, I now want to insert my hook and pull my slip knot very tight. What I want to do now is to start crocheting chains. For chain, I always want to yarn over and pull my yarn through the loop on my hook. This was my first chain, my second, third, fourth, and my 5th chain, and I now want to continue to crochet chains till I've crocheted in total 84 chains. In my case, this 84 chains will totally fit me, and it actually depends on how tight and loose you crochet as well. This 84 chains will be a size large in my case, but if you crochet a bit more tight or even loose, this actually can't fit as well. So as I said, just crochet so many chains till you've reached your perfect amount, and just take care that those chains are divisible by 4. Now that I've crocheted my 84 chains, I want to crochet 10 more chains. These 10 more chains we'll actually need for our pattern, and they don't influence the width of our bolero. So I want to yarn over and crochet my first chain, the second, third, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and my 10th chain. And now I want to count those 10 chains back. This is the first, second, third, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and my 10th chain. And into that 10th chain, I now want to crochet 1 double crochet. So for a double crochet, I want to yarn over and insert my hook, as I said, into the 10th chain from my hook. Then I want to yarn over and pull my yarn out again of the chain, and I've got 3 loops now on my hook. I want to yarn over, and for double crochet I now want to pull this yarn through the first 2 loops. Then I've got 2 loops left on my hook again. I want to yarn over and pull my yarn through the last 2 loops as well. After I've crocheted into the 10th chain from my hook my first double crochet, I now want to chain 3. This is my first, second and my third chain, and then I want to skip 3 chains and I want to crochet into the 4th chain my double crochet again. So this is my first, second and third chain, and into chain number 4 I now want to insert my hook again and crochet my second double crochet, just like this. After my double crochet into the 4th chain, I now want to chain 3 again. This is my first, second and third chain, and I want to skip again 3 of those chains. This is the first, second and third, and into my 4th chain I want to crochet again 1 double crochet. What I want to do now till the end of row number 1 is to always skip 3 of the chains and crochet 1 double crochet into the following 4th chain. After my double crochet I want to chain again 3. Then I want to skip again 3 chains and crochet into the 4th chain my double crochet. Please continue to crochet this pattern till the end of your chains, and once you completed to crochet this pattern, I want to show you at the end of our chains how I want to continue to crochet row number 2. As you can see, I'm now nearly at the end of row number 1. The last thing that I've done is to crochet again my pattern by crocheting into the following 4th chain my double crochet, and after my double crochet I've chained 3 chains again. What I want to do now is to skip one last time for row number 1 those 3 chains, and into my very last chain I now want to crochet 1 double crochet and complete row number 1. For the beginning of every following row, we now want to chain 6. So I want to chain now 6 for the beginning of row number 2. This is my first, second, third chain, number 4, 5 and my 6th chain. And then I want to turn my whole work around and I want to start to crochet now row number 2. And the way that we want to crochet now row number 2 is the way that we want to do it with our whole bolero. So what I want to do now is to yarn over, and into that 2nd chain from my square I want to crochet now my first double crochet for my 2nd row. After I've crocheted into my 2nd chain my double crochet, I want to chain 3 again and go on with my following square. And into this middle chain I want to crochet now again 1 double crochet. So what we want to do in row number 2 is always to crochet our double crochets into this middle chain of our square. After our double crochet we want to chain 3 again and go on with our following square, and here I want to crochet into my middle chain again. This means chain number 2 my double crochet, and after every double crochet I want to chain 3 again and go on with my following square. Please continue to crochet row number 2 like this, and once you've completed your 2nd row like that, I want to show you how we want to close our rows and how we want to start every following row. I'm now nearly at the end of row number 2. And what I want to show you now is how we want to close up every row and start the following row in our pattern. So what I want to do now is to crochet again into the middle chain of the square my double crochet. After that I want to chain again my 3 chains. This is my first, 2nd and my 3rd chain, and I'm actually now at my last square in row number 2. What we want to do now in our last square is always to crochet into the 3rd chain, in my case it is this one, our last double crochet for our row. My 2nd row is now completed. For the beginning of my 3rd row I now want to chain 6. This was my 1st, 2nd, 3rd, my 4th, 5th and my 6th chain, and then I want to turn my whole work around, and as I said we just want to repeat now row number 2 by crocheting again into this middle chain our first double crochet. Then we want to chain again our 3 chains. This is my 1st, second and my third chain, and we want to continue to always crochet into the second chain in our square our double crochets. After that we want to chain 3 again, and I want to continue to crochet now this pattern row by row till I've reached my perfect length of my bolero. And what we want to do now is to crochet our bolero row by row, and you want to hold this whole thing onto your shoulders, on your body, and just look if it's reached your perfect length. I want to continue to crochet my rows till I've completed row number 14, and then this whole thing will cover up my breast, but actually you can crochet less or even more rows to make your bolero longer or even shorter. And once you've reached your perfect length as well, I want to show you how we want to crochet onto our front side, our back side of the bolero as well. My work looks like this right now. So what I've done so far is to crochet in my pattern 14 of these rows, and after my 14th row I just cut off my yarn and sewed up my yarn end, because what I want to do now is to flip this whole thing around, and here we started to crochet with our chains. Right here I have the wool from my slip knot, and because this edge here doesn't look as pretty as the edge of row number 14, I now want to continue to crochet my back part at this edge. This means at the chains where we started to crochet our bolero, we now want to start to crochet our back part to really hide this end. What I've done after I flipped this whole thing around is to mark 4 of those squares on the left and at the right side of my work, because those 4 squares will later on lie on my shoulders before the opening for my head is coming. So please just take this whole piece and lay it onto your body on the front side and look how many squares you'll need to cover up your shoulders before your neck really starts. This is what we want to do to really mark our shoulder places. When you crochet a smaller size, of course those squares can be less, like 2 or maybe 3, and when you want to crochet a bigger size, there can be more squares to cover your shoulders. So once you really marked your shoulder places by using a stitch marker to mark the last double crochet that you've crocheted, what you want to do is to just count the double crochets in between your 2 shoulder places. So what I've done is to just go ahead and count my very first double crochet after my stitch marker. This is my first, second, my third double crochet, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So now I can be sure that I have in between those stitch markers 13 double crochets. And what we want to do now with those 13 double crochets is to multiply them with 4. Of course, if you crocheted a smaller size, there can be less double crochets in between your stitch markers. When you crochet a bigger size, there can be even more. But what we want to do now, after we've just counted those double crochets, is to multiply them with 4, and then we'll know how many chains we have to crochet for the back part. So what we want to do now is to just continue to crochet our pattern for the 4 squares, in my case for the shoulder part. After that we want to crochet chains, and the way that you know which amount of chains you'll crochet is really by counting your double crochets in between your stitch markers, and then multiply this amount of your double crochets with 4, and then you'll know how many chains you'll have to crochet for your back part. After that, we just want to continue to crochet on the left side our pattern as usual for our left shoulder part as well. I want to show you now how I want to do that. As I said, I have in between my stitch markers my 13 double crochets, and now I want to multiply them by 4. I will have 52 chains that I'll have to crochet for my back part in between our stitch markers, and I now want to show you how I do that. So please just go to that very right edge of your work, and then I want to show you how we want to continue to crochet our back part. Now that I've marked my work, I just grabbed up this whole piece and I want to go to this right corner, and now I want to insert my yarn again. For this I just want to insert my hook at this edge at my very first square into the third chain. So this is now my very first chain, the second and my third chain, and I just want to insert my hook, yarn over and just pull my yarn through. So now that I've inserted my yarn again, I want to crochet 6 chains. This is my first, second, third, my fourth, fifth and my 6th chain. Until we reach our stitch marker, we just want to crochet our pattern the way that we've always done it. So after my 6 chains, I want to crochet into this middle chain, the second one, my first double crochet again. And after my double crochet, I want to chain 3 and go on with my following square, and then I want to pick up again this middle chain in my square and crochet 1 double crochet on top of it. After my double crochet, I of course chain 3 again and want to continue now with my following square, and here I want to crochet into the middle chain again, 1 double crochet, and then I want to crochet my 3 chains. Now I nearly reached my stitch marker. I'm just right before my very last square, before my stitch marker is following on top of this double crochet. And one last time I now want to crochet into the second chain, 1 double crochet again. And now that we've crocheted our double crochet, we want to start to crochet our chains. As I said, in my case, I want to crochet my 52 chains. So please just continue to crochet your chains now. And once you've crocheted the amount of chains that you've just calculated, I want to show you how we want to continue the first row of our back part on the left side. Now that I've crocheted my 52 chains, I'm at the left side of my piece and my second stitch marker. So what I want to do after I've crocheted my 52 chains is to really crochet on top of this double crochet where my stitch marker is laying on my first double crochet. So I want to remove now my stitch marker and crochet on top of this double crochet my first double crochet after my 52 chains. Then I want to again chain 3. And I now want to complete the crochet my pattern. So I just want to crochet on top of the second chain now, my double crochet. And then I want to chain 3 again. So please just continue to crochet your pattern till you're at the end of your row. And then I want to show you how we want to continue with our second row at our back part. What I've done now to complete this very first row is to crochet the pattern the same way that we've always done it. At the end of my first row for the back part, I just crocheted into my third chain again, my double crochet, and after that I've crocheted my 6 chains and just crocheted my pattern the same way that we've always done it. I'm now at my very last square before my chains are following. So what I want to do now is to crochet again into this middle chain of my last square, my double crochet, and after that I want to chain 3 again. So this is my first, second and my third chain, and now I've reached my chains. In my case I've crocheted, as I said, my 52 chains. What we want to do now is to crochet the same pattern that we've already used in the beginning. After my last double crochet and my 3 chains into my last square, I now want to skip again 3 chains and crochet into the 4th chain my double crochet again. This is the same way that we've started to crochet our boleros. After my double crochet into my 4th chain, I want to chain 3 again. And then I want to skip again the following 3 chains, and into my 4th chain I now want to crochet my second double crochet. So what we want to do now is to always crochet after our double crochets 3 chains, and then we want to skip again 3 chains and crochet into our 4th chain our double crochet. So please continue to crochet that with all of your chains, and once you've reached the left side of your work again, I want to show you one last time how we want to complete this row and start the following row, and after that we just want to crochet row by row till we've completed to crochet the back part of our bolero as well. I'm now nearly at the end of my chains, and you can really double check yourself if you crocheted right by just counting the last chains that you have, and they should be 4 last chains. What I want to do now is to skip one last time those 3 chains, and into my very last chain I now want to crochet again 1 double crochet, just like that. And then I just want to continue to crochet the same pattern that we've always used. After my double crochet, I want to crochet my 3 chains, and then I want to continue with my following square. And into that second chain in my following square, I want to crochet now my following double crochet. And after that, again my 3 chains. So what we want to do now is to crochet the same pattern for the back part of our bolero that we already used for the front part. We always want to crochet into the second chain in our square, our double crochet, then we want to chain 3 and just continue with the following square. At the end of our row, we always want to crochet on top of that third chain, our double crochet, then we want to chain 6 and again turn our work around for the following row. So what I want to do now is to crochet in total again my 14 rows, and I want to tell you that you actually can be sure that you crochet this whole part, this means the first row, for your back part by just counting your squares. In my front part I had in total in the width 21 of those squares, and in my back part I will have again 21 of those squares in the width. And once you've crocheted and completed your back part as well, I want to show you how we want to close the front and the back part on the sides together and then add our sleeves. I now completed to crochet my 14 rows for my back part as well, and this is how it turned out. What I want to do now is to crochet 1 row with single crochets around my neckline. This step is now really optional, but I personally think it will look much prettier when I crochet my round with my single crochets on this neckline. So if you want to crochet together with me 1 row with single crochets around your neckline, please just grab any of those squares, and then I want to show you how I want to do that. As I said, I now want to crochet 1 round with single crochets across my neckline, and for this I just want to go to any of those squares and to this first double crochet. You can really choose any square and insert your hook now on top of a double crochet, and then you want to insert your yarn by just grabbing it up with your hook and pulling it through this double crochet like this. Then you want to chain 1 for the beginning of the round with your single crochets, and now you always want to crochet on top of these 3 chains your single crochets, and then you want to crochet on top of your double crochet which is following again 1 single crochet. So for single crochet I now want to insert my hook into this following chain, yarn over and pull my yarn through, and I do have now 2 loops on my hook. For single crochet I now want to yarn over and pull my yarn through these 2 loops on my hook. Then I want to continue to crochet 1 single crochet on top of the following chain, like this, and on top of my 3rd chain I want to crochet again 1 single crochet. So basically we just want to insert our hook on top of each stitch and crochet 1 single crochet on top of it. As I said, this is really optional. I just personally think that this whole neckline will look more pretty then. So I want to continue to crochet now my single crochets on top of each stitch, and once you've crocheted the first row, you just want to join this very first chain by crocheting 1 slip stitch into it. Then you want to chain 1, cut your yarn through and just swap your yarn ends. And once you've completed that, we'll meet up again and I want to show you how we want to close our bolero on the sides and how we want to start to crochet our sleeves. We are now already almost at the end of our work. What we have to do now is to join the back and the front piece together and then crochet our sleeves. I've already completed to do that on one of my sides, as you can see. Right here on my left side, I already closed up my front and my back piece together by crocheting slip stitches. And after that, I've just crocheted my first sleeve. I want to show you how I've done that on my right side. What What you have to do now is just to look how much space you have to leave for your sleeve. I just tried this whole thing on, and in my case this hole here is really enough to get my arm through it. So I have to close 6 of those squares together with slip stitches, and this opening I need for my arm. Please try your bolero on, and then you'll see how much space you have to leave for your arm. And if you crocheted your bolero not as long as I did, it can be that you just have to join 1 square, for example, for a very small size. I want to show you now how I close this side up and how I want to crochet my sleeve. So please just grab your work up like this, and then I want to show you how we want to join the front and the back piece with slip stitches. We now want to join the front and the back piece on the sides together and then continue to crochet our sleeves. What I want to do now is to insert my hook first on this front piece, right here on the edge and my corner, and I want to do the same thing with the back piece. Then I want to yarn over and pull my yarn now through all those stitches on my hook. I want to grab up my yarn on my left hand and chain 1. We've just inserted our yarn now, and what we want to do to crochet those 2 pieces together now is to crochet slip stitches. I want to insert my hook now on this chain here on the edge, and I want to grab the same chain at my back piece. Then I want to yarn over, and for slip stitch I now want to pull my yarn through all the loops on my hook. In my case there is now following 1 double crochet. So I want to insert my hook now on top of this double crochet on my front and at my back piece too. Then I want to yarn over and just pull my yarn through all the loops on my hook. What we want to do now is to always insert our hook on our chains. In my case the following chain is this one, and then we want to grab up at our back piece the same stitch. We want to yarn over and just crochet our slip stitches. Like this, we now really want to join our front and back piece on the sides together, and please just continue to crochet your slip stitches till you're at your mark, and then I want to show you how we want to continue to crochet our sleeve. I now joined my front and back piece together by crocheting slip stitches, and I've done that till my very last double crochet that I've marked with my stitch marker. Now that I've joined my very last double crochet together on the front and on the back, I want to start to crochet my sleeves. So what we want to do now to start to crochet our sleeves is to again crochet 6 chains for the beginning of our rounds. This was my 3rd, 4th, my 5th and 6th chain. I want to crochet now again the same pattern that I've already crocheted on my body part. So now I want to crochet on top of the 2nd chain my very first double crochet. Then I want to chain 3 and continue with this following square. There I want to crochet into this middle chain again, 1 double crochet. Please crochet your first round and complete it like that. And I want to show you the special part that we have to follow to crochet our sleeves. I'm now nearly at the end of my very first round for my sleeves. I've got 1 last square left, and I just want to insert my hook again into that 2nd chain and crochet my last double crochet for my first round. Then I want to again crochet 3 chains, and I want to close up now my first round by crocheting 1 slip stitch into my 3rd chain. For the beginning of my 2nd round, I now want to crochet again 6 chains. This is the 3rd, 4th, my 5th and my 6th chain. And the special thing about our sleeves is now that we crochet them in rounds. What we have to do to provide our sleeve from getting bigger and bigger is to always close up our round by not crocheting into our very last square at the end of our round in the 2nd chain 1 double crochet. What we want to do always is to skip this very last square. This means we want to crochet onto that 2nd last square in our middle chain 1 double crochet, chain 3, and then just skip this last square and crochet into that 3rd chain from the beginning, 1 slip stitch. This is what we want to do to really provide our sleeve from getting in each round bigger and bigger. And for my first sleeve I've crocheted 23 rounds. So please just continue to crochet your sleeves round by round, and you can now actually decide how long your sleeves should be. As I said, I now want to continue to crochet 22 more rounds, and then I want to sew up all of my yarn ends, and once you've finished your 2 sleeves, we'll meet up again. Now that I've completed to crochet my second sleeve and sewed up all of my yarn ends, my bolero turned out just beautiful and pretty. And if you do have now an as pretty bolero as I have in your perfect size, please make sure to subscribe to this channel and like and comment this video. And I really do hope that we'll see each other the next time again.